Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis can't stop stacking up those losses. She was just handed another loss earlier this week, and it's going to cost her about, well, Georgia taxpayers about $21,000, a little over $21,000, I should say. It's a good one because it comes from our friends over at Judicial Watch. They have been going after Fani Willis's office in regards to open records requests. And joining us now to detail just that is Chris Farrell. He is Judicial Watch Director of Investigations and Research. Chris, congratulations. This is a major victory for you all at Judicial Watch because, well, Fani Willis doesn't want to comply with open requests in regards to the records that you guys have been asking for. And again, she's just trying to, pretend like it didn't happen, ignore it, and just drag this on. So now she has to pay your legal fees, and she's also being forced by the court to comply with your request. Now, you guys are looking for any type of communications that were made between her team, Jack Smith's office, the Biden regime. Let's go to the beginning of all of this. How did this come about? And then let's talk our way through how you guys received your settlement, your grant from the court saying that, yes, now they have to pay your legal fees as well.
Sure, happy to do so. It's great to be with you. Well, first off, look, when we saw this really contrived legal campaign against President Trump, this effort to use every single kind of trick in the book to go after him, to jail him, to bankrupt him, every effort was made in a really corrupt way by his political opponents to try to destroy him, like nothing we've ever seen in American history before. It was very obvious to us that this really kind of third-rate county district attorney, Fani Willis, who really is a disgrace. If you look at her professional and her personal conduct, she's a train wreck, right? But we knew that, she was going to try to synchronize her efforts, coordinate with the Biden administration, whether that was Jack Smith, the outlaw prosecutor who's just been running around, inventing authority for himself and unlawfully pursuing the president, but also Merrick Garland at the Department of Justice, even the Biden White House, right? We know that there were efforts and communications between her office and the Biden White House. So we wanted to find out, hey, what have you been doing? What kind of contact? What kind of communications? What sort of meetings? Have you coordinated or synchronized legal briefings? What strategies do you have? All these questions that we had, we filed open records requests under Georgia law, but also federally using the Federal Freedom of Information Act law to find out what was going on. Now, here's the incredibly arrogant part of Fani Willis's conduct in this regard. When we filed in Georgia to find out under Georgia law what her communications were, because she's a public official now, right? She's a Fulton County DA. She has to abide by Georgia's open records law. When we filed in court and sued her because she failed to respond under the law to our request, she defaulted. She didn't even bother to show up in court. I've been at Judicial Watch for 25 years. We've been in business for 30 years. Never before has a government official simply blown off the court and basically said, drop dead, I'm not even going to show up. I'm not going to participate. That's what Fani Willis did. So she's a one-of-a-kind special character. She blew off the lawsuit, blew off an appearance in court, and obviously the court didn't find that very funny, right? If you're a judge trying to run a court and the DA just doesn't even bother to show up. So we entered a default judgment in our favor. And that was important because what that does is two things. Number one, it allows us to recover our costs, our time, our money, our effort to pursue these records. And she's going to have to end up producing all these records and documents that we've sought. So that's how we get to the $21,000. That's really legal fees and costs for us in pursuing this. And she's got now about probably 10 days to pay it.
Yeah. And that bill is going to be forwarded to Georgia taxpayers, though. She doesn't personally have to pay that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside. The downside is Georgia taxpayers pay the bill. But I would also counsel Georgia taxpayers who are also Georgia voters to smarten up when it comes to the next election.
And that's key. That really is key because it's really hard to understand why people like Fani Willis land in their position. Like you said,
Right.
she's not well spoken. Honestly, when she goes up there and she talks in front of the media, she doesn't have a composure that you'd want for somebody who is district attorney. And so I just don't understand. Even watching her. I mean, when we watched her sit there between her and her boyfriend Nathan Wade go back and forth, she didn't seem professional. She
She
looked sloppy,
doesn't have
and she didn't. Yeah.
the intellect, the judgment,
Mhm.
the demeanor, the character required to be the district attorney of Fulton County. I mean, she
Yeah.
simply comes up short in each category. Now,
Yeah.
she may have some shtick that she goes through, or she may have some appeal. I'm not sure what it is, but it certainly isn't a professional, judicious, serious, thoughtful manner.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, she's gotten away with it for as long as she has.
Yeah, and I think that's why she was so cocky enough not to show up when she was supposed to. I know that they were supposed to turn over records to you, the communications. I know that they
Right.
haven't complied with that either. They've only turned over two items to you guys, two documents to you all. Detail what you've seen thus far, and if you've seen a connection in communications between Fannie Willis's office and the White House.
Yeah, well, we know that there's contact and communication because from other reporting, from other sources, from other documents, it's been detailed that their office, even in the form of her boyfriend, the other prosecutor on the case, Nathan Wade, he made trips to the White House, according to some records. And
Yeah.
so there's been this level of coordination and synchronization. This is political targeting. This is the use of law enforcement to attack a political opponent. It's all baseless nonsense. This has been laid out so plainly. All these various prosecutions have fallen apart, with the exception of the lunatic judge in New York, uh, who persists in pursuing Trump in that regard. But the American people saw through all of this. So all these efforts to criminalize President Trump, all these efforts to attack the people around him who worked for him and supported him, all these charges out of nowhere, manufacturing cases, the American people saw through it. They had X-ray vision to see the truth, and that's why, despite every effort under the sun, people saw it as a political, not prosecution, but a persecution, and they still returned him to office. And that's the lesson. You can
Yeah.
try all these stunts, you can try to rig the system, you can try to go after somebody in an unlawful way, but the American people aren't stupid, and they see this for what it is. And in the end, they're given a choice, and they picked President Trump despite every effort to turn this guy into some kind of a monster. It just didn't work.
And they wanted a mugshot. They wanted that mugshot so
Exactly.
bad, and
Exactly.
it worked
Yeah.
out, and it worked out for Trump, honestly. I think it made him very relatable to most Americans,
Yeah.
and, they know what it's like to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just made him very relatable. And you also mentioned Nathan Wade and his
Yep.
meetings at the White House. I mean, he literally billed taxpayers for those meetings. And so that's how we know that he had those meetings within the White House. And so it's so absurd that they were so cocky about all of this. And I never thought that it was going to come out and play out. Jeff Clark, a friend of mine, is one of the co defendants in all of this. And he's had his life completely destroyed by Fani Willis and also the DC bar. But again, this shouldn't be happening in the first place. And it's just so enraging that they've gotten away with this. And I really hope that's not the case. So I want to ask you, now that you've gotten the court to say yes, they're going to pay your legal fees and they have to
Right.
turn over these documents. We know that she's not complying thus far. What if Fani Willis decides that she's still not going to comply? What's your next move, I guess I should say?
Yeah, I mean, we will never let this go, right? We
Yeah.
will. We're the people that uncovered Hillary Clinton's email server, right? And that all started with a FOIA request about Benghazi, right? It was a long story arc from the attack in Benghazi to Hillary Clinton's email server being disclosed as an outside means by which she was operating. That same kind of long story arc fits here. We will never let go of this case. We're going to drive it into the ground, and we're going to get every detail we possibly can under the law by pursuing it aggressively. And, whether it's 3 months from now or 10 years from now, Rest assured, we will continue to press forward and get every document that we're due.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Chris, thank you for all the great work you guys do over at Judicial Watch. You guys do an incredible job. And to remind our audience, head over to the website, take a look around because there's so much that you guys are working on, so many FOIA requests, lawsuits that you guys are dropping that you got to stay in the know. I know I sign up for your notifications, so I'm very well aware of all the great work you guys are doing. So thank you for that.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Support companies that support our beliefs. That's what we should all be doing. And I've got a great company that you probably know about, but you didn't know there was a great sale going on right now over at mypillow.com. Mike Lindell has literally put everything on the line for this country. And so if you're looking for some incredible items, head on over to mypillow.com, take a look around, support Mike Lindell, who's also supporting the show as well, I should say. Now, when you use promo code BREE, you're going to save up to 66% off, plus all of these sale prices that you see right now on your screen. I mean, my coffee, $18.74. You're only getting that deal when you use promo code BREE. That's promo code BRE. And you guys know I'm very excited. I'm going to order another set. The Giza bed sheets are also on sale right now. It's an incredible offer. These bed sheets are better than any hotel bed sheets I've ever slept on. So head over to mypillow.com right now. Take a look around. So many amazing items that you probably didn't even realize were on sale are on sale right now when you use that promo code BRE. That's promo code BRE at checkout.